Yeah, I felt like I was very focused on the court from the start, and that's what I was looking for. The first few matches I played good tennis, but I had some ups and downs, and today was very stable from the first to the last point. He made a lot of unforced errors, and obviously I just needed to kind of make him play an extra shot and serve well, and I've done everything I wanted.
How important is this tournament to you, Novak, given your start to the year? Is this an important springboard for you for the rest of the upcoming month and the months to follow?
Of course, it's a very important tournament for all of the tennis players because it's the first Master Series tournament of the year. 1,000 event, you want to do well. Of course, and coming to Miami with a great confidence, and I haven't won Australian Open this year, as it was the case in the last 3 years, and we came in Indian Wells without a title in this season, and that is a different feel from previous years. So, of course, it's important for me to do well, and I'm on the right path and playing semi-finals, which is always of course a challenge and a good result, but I want to try to go as far as I can.
Novak, you've generally been pretty open to innovations. In terms of the Paribas tournament here, with all its innovations, the prize money, the attendance, how just people love it, do you think it's the fifth slam, or do you think it should become a fifth slam?
There are a few tournaments around the world that they call fifth slam, but it's difficult to say, really. But one thing is for sure, that this tournament is, if not the best, and one of the best tournaments in the world in terms of investing in facilities and making players feel comfortable and really sharing the passion for the sport with fans. That's what Mr. Allison is doing, and we appreciate that very much. I think he's a brave man, and he obviously is very successful in what he does. His personal business, but then he obviously loves the sport, and I think that's the first and main reason why he bought this tournament and why he's investing in facilities. He's always each year coming up with something new because he just loves the sport. That's the first thing, and I guess the business is in the second. But he's always trying to make the players feel good, and he's definitely succeeding in that. So I think we need to pay more attention to the ATP tournaments, because obviously we're always talking about Grand Slams as the four most important and prestigious tournaments that we have in sport, but Indian Wells is one of the ATP events that shows that ATP events deserve to be in the same league. Why not? Everything in life is evolving, is progressing, and there has to be times when people start thinking ahead. What can we change? Because tennis has been, in my opinion, too conservative in terms of scheduling and in terms of certain things that that eventually could have a potential talk about changes, a progress, because everything in life is, as I said, evolving, and you have to keep up with that. You can't just have the facilities or tournament or prize money or whatever that was 20, 30 years ago, because nowadays everything is more expensive for the players who are especially lower ranked. It takes a lot of money to get to arrive here with their team and so forth. So I mean, this is a great example of a tournament that is seeking always to improve, and I thank them for that.
You participated in the doubles here, as did a number of other top singles players, but at least this week you have number one and number two in the final. What does that say to you?
Number one and number two in the final.
The top two seeds in the men's doubles final.
What does it say to me in terms of just the doubles? As a doubles specialists, or are you alluding to singles players as well?
People say that doubles players are singles players that
Couldn't make it all the way to the finals? Is that I didn't understand really clearly.
Make it a singles player, so they become doubles.
That's what you mean.
Yeah, but
Well, I mean, look, at a certain stage of the career, I don't think that there's anybody who's playing actively doubles now that started their tennis career intending to become a doubles player. They all probably try to play singles, and then at a certain stage of their careers, they want to play doubles, and they figure that that's better option for them, that they can be more successful and they can earn more money and have just more successful career in general. I mean, if I offended somebody, I'm sorry, but I haven't heard that the single player started his career at the age of 5 or 6, dreaming that he can be a doubles champion. But yeah, I mean, that's a fact. I'm not discrediting doubles. I think that there's just the way it is, and you always you want to do it because it's individual sports, so you want to do well in singles. But over the time, as you're growing up, of course, you're playing more doubles, and then, as I said, depending on individual at a certain stage of their careers, they say, okay, I'm going to go for doubles and see how it goes. And yeah, one of my best friends on tour, Nenad Zimonjic, he was #1 of the world and is one of the most successful active doubles players. And he was playing singles till a certain age, and then he started playing more doubles, and now he's only a doubles player, and it works well for him.
Novak, just kind of drawing you back to conservatism in tennis and what Larry Ellison has done here. It might worry a lot of people if he thought he might be able to take a more active role in the sport, and what he's done in his business life has been phenomenally successful. Do you think that perhaps we should open our doors a little bit more to people like that in the business world who've done very well, and perhaps see what they might be able to offer this sport, which, as you quite rightly say, normally closes its doors to people with initiative and ambition?
I agree. I think that our sport, as I mentioned before, should be more open for innovation, for creative people with the right intentions to grow and to improve. And Mr. Allison is definitely one of them. So I mean, I'm not sure if he has time to be dedicating to our sport in a larger scale, but he's already doing a lot for our sport with this tournament. And but we definitely need to be a little bit more open to the kind of a modern times, I would say, because I feel like I feel like in certain things the sport is still decades behind, because just with no disrespect to the tradition and history of our sport, I think that this is very important to keep this integrity and always remember the history, how it all started, and protect that as much as you can. But on the other hand, you have to move on, and there's times when you have to just say, okay, this is life. It's everything is progressing. We are either going to progress or we're going to go the regression, the other way around. So we can't just be stagnating, can't be just in one place. So I think there's many different subjects that we can talk about. And I think that this is one of the sports that still hasn't used its full potential, and it's very global and second or third most playable sport around the world. I mean, that says enough. And I'm not just talking about economics here. I'm talking about just the global popularity of the sport, and many more things that can be done.
Last couple of questions.
Is there anything scheduling-wise that you would consider to be a good innovation that might
Well, there are certain things. I mean, in an ideal world, Australian Open can start 3-4 weeks later. Because I think that having Australian Open as a one of the 4 Grand Slams right at the start of the season is a little bit too early, and then having such a long gap to the next Grand Slam, and then having Roland Garros, Wimbledon, and US Open in a matter of two and a half months. I think that's if depends from what perspective you're looking at, but I think that that's something that is not ideal. But again, it's been like that for so many years, and I have a sense that spent 10 years at the professional level, and was 3 years involved in politics of tennis, and was in council, and I get the sense that people are just too afraid of doing, going towards some rational maybe changes or improvements, or just something that they're always afraid that it can disturb the history and the culture that this sport possesses. So I agree in certain things, yes, but then there are also many things that we close the doors too early for those kind of discussions. So scheduling can be worked around a lot. I think that also the Davis Cup is also subject for over the years you don't see that many top men's tennis player being part of Davis Cup in last 15 years, which is sad because it's the only official team competition where we get to represent our country aside the Olympic Games, and that's something that makes us very proud. I enjoy playing it, but like for example this year, sometimes I have to make decisions not to play it because the scheduling is just it's just too rough. I mean, the Davis Cups always come after the major tournaments and after a month or month and a half of playing at the top level, and so I think that this kind of discussions have to be on the table, and see if we can change the format, or if we can change maybe not playing best of 5, maybe changing playing best of 3, and playing instead of 3 playing 2 days. So there are things that you can talk about, but it's always so complicated because it's structured. Tennis is its structure is so complicating that it's very difficult to achieve something because you have to go through different governing bodies, to different organizations, right? We belong to ATP, but then there are Grand Slams, then there is ITF, then there is WADA, then there is, it's too many, I think, too many organizations, and for people outside tennis it's also complicated to follow that up and to really understand what's going on. So I think we have to make it more simple in order for the sport to grow.
Last question, Craig.
No, like you're saying about things like scheduling and all that, you made a point about the Australian Open, and I fully appreciate where you're coming from on that, but then you've also, I guess, got to look at what we're going through in Australia, the time of the year, what sponsors want and all that. So I guess it's a very difficult situation. You're not going to satisfy everybody.
Yeah.
And that's where we come into...
I know exactly what you're talking about. I mean, I feel that the Australian Open is actually the Grand Slam that has been improving the most out of all the Grand Slams in last decade or so. And I'm not criticizing Australian Open. I'm just saying that scheduling is such that it's very complicating to change anything. And I said, in an ideal world for players, it would be great if we start at least 3-4 weeks later, because then we would have a little bit longer of season and preparation. I mean, in all the other sports, if you see the NBA players or football, soccer players, they have at least a couple of months, so they give themselves 3 to 4 weeks break, and then they have another, at least 6, 7, 8 weeks of preparation, which is exactly the time that you need for your body to get in the 100% maximum right shape. And we don't have that. I've had in the last couple of years 4 or 5 weeks combined, rest and preparation. So that's not enough. And then I have to be going to Melbourne already to play Grand Slam. So, but I understand from Australia, where the tournament comes from. I mean, we have school break, I think, for these 2 weeks, and sponsors and so forth. It's the ideal time for them. But in the end of the day, there is always going to be an excuse or somebody coming up with a reason, and then it's just too complex. So I think that there has to be a certain strong stand, and something that the players want, somebody who's going to represent the rights and see what we can do for players to feel good, but on the other hand for tournaments also to survive and to do well.
But then we've got the situation, sorry Martin,
Yeah.
We've got a situation then you're saying about that break at the end, and then we've got the new Premier Tennis League that wants to come
Yeah.
into that slot.
Yeah.
Then you've got players wanting to play that
Yeah.
when they should necessarily be taking that break.
Yeah, well, again, this tennis league is a new concept, and it's something that you can call an innovation. I think it's a very good idea if it happens. But it's not as competitive as an official tournament, so you wouldn't have players, fighting for points, and of course you're being paid for playing that, but it's a different concept that if it happens, it is going to happen for first year this year. So if we're going to see, you can't really judge and say, okay, yeah, but the players anyway try to use the free time of tournaments to play exhibition matches. So this is kind of an exhibition league that you would play. So again, it's complicating because you have within the structure of ATP two interest sides. You have tournaments and you have players, and it's always this kind of split voting, and it's always 50% of rights and power that both sides have, and that's where it comes to conflict, because obviously it's in 90% of the times it's just two totally opposite interests.
Very last one.
Novak, can we just get thoughts on your next match? Isner won the first set. Obviously, you lost to him here. What's your thoughts on this?
Well, I played John here a few years ago, and I remember that match, 7-6 in the third, and lost to him also a very close one in Cincinnati last year. So, he's definitely not somebody you like to play on, on the big heat with such serve. It's it's very challenging because he doesn't miss his serve too much, and so you have to kind of be able to hold your composure from the first to the last point, and be ready to play 3 tiebreaks, and that's all. But I know that the key against both of these guys, whoever I play against, is return and efficient serving, and trying to kind of stay tough and not let any concentration lapses, because then they can use it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.